Uranus is moving into Gemini for 8 years. Uranus is our planet of connection and going off on our own journey. It is divine intelligence, our ability to connect to this network of energy that is inspirational, intuitive, and it helps build things anew, things that no one has done before or thought of before. Those unique ideas are often divine intelligence, and we are the ones that get to bring it into form. In this introduction, I'm going to talk about the magic triangle, which is a trine to Pluto in the sign of Uranus, and both of them are sextiling Neptune and Saturn in Aries. This is an ongoing configuration that holds a lot of meaning, but I'm going to break down some of the important pieces. I will also get into more information about what Uranus in Gemini is like specifically, give you a sense of what it's going to feel like, and then what we can do with that energy, how it's going to help us and move us forward in this wildly transformative year that we have been experiencing. Then you can get into the sign by sign, check your sun, moon, and rising to get a sense of the places in life that this is going to show up for you. For me, the most exciting part of this video is that this is my 100th YouTube video. Woo! And in honor of this very exciting milestone, I am offering everyone free PDF planners for the rest of the year. So these PDF planners have new moon and full moon readings for each sign for every 2 weeks for the rest of the year. This is a wonderful way to get a sense of your own journey, and you can reach out to me and get your sun, moon, and rising, and then combine all three, and you can get a really good sense of how your own astrology is going to show up every 2 weeks. I feel compelled to add that behind the scenes, this transformative YouTube journey there have been so many moments of bliss and excitement, but it has been equally, if not more, the transformation has been harder than I expected. And I just appreciate so much the way that everyone has shown up to watch these videos, sharing it with your friends, commenting below, and the emails of support, reaching out for readings. Thank you so much for being here, watching these videos, especially those of you who have been here a long time for this journey with me. Thank you so very much. And now let's get on with it. A conclusion that I came to through my own Uranus moment recently. I'm currently just finishing a Uranus opposition, and it's still highly influential on my life. One day on reflecting, I went deep into the spiral of wishing things had been different, wishing I had made different choices, thinking that I could have controlled an outcome to be different. And what I came to, which I think is a really important thing for all of astrology and all of life, is that the lessons are more valuable than the cost of the mistake. When we look back on things that we've done in the past and wish that we could have made a different choice, done something differently, the only thing we can do is to move forward with that knowledge and that re-imprinting in our nervous system. And for me, it was about finances. As Uranus has just finished the 29th degree of Taurus, a lot of us might have felt that. Uranus will revisit Taurus from November 8th until April of 2026. So we'll be back on this 29th degree again, and the emphasis will be on transforming the old energy when it comes to security, abundance, and our money mindsets. Uranus is an archetype of divine intellectual ability. It is divine intervention. It is a flash of insight and intuition that can jar us and completely change our trajectory. But it also changes our energetic imprint. And that's really how I see Uranus. It rules the nervous system. It rules electricity. It rules the internet. It is the networks that we don't see in the world that are energetic. It is social networks as well. So it is the bigger communities at large. But in a lot of ways, those social networks are energetic extensions in our lives. It's about a feeling. When you feel differently towards an experience, towards an energy, towards money in this case, then your connection to it is different. And this is why Uranus rules our communities and social networks at large, is that there's often an energetic connection that brings us to these people like magnets. So wherever Uranus is in your chart, think about that energetic imprint and how it can be shifted moving forward to support in the best possible way. Uranus is connected to the Tower card in tarot. So it is known like a lightning strike coming down from the gods to tear something down so that we have no choice but to build it back up again. And this isn't a process to fear, but one to welcome, because things need to break down for us to build the life that we want and grow in the direction that we want to move in. Don't be afraid of any failure. In fact, experiment. Go out there and try on different energies. Try on different ways of being while Uranus is transiting certain parts of your chart. There could be changes in transportation. There could be changes in our communication, and we could be getting a lot of divine flashes of insight, messages that seem to come out of nowhere. They're like aha moments that we can apply to these parts of our lives. Uranus can even feel a bit frantic. Uranus can feel like you've had too much caffeine or a jolt of energy, especially if it's hitting one of your planets. If you have any placements or your angles are in the mutable signs, so that would be Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces, you might feel the Uranian power even stronger. If you're feeling extra anxious or nervous or feeling like electric currents running through your body, this could even be excitement. Know that it's going to come in waves and that there's nothing actually wrong with your system. This is what energetic upgrades can feel like sometimes. This is the kind of energy where if you make a wish, you will get the answer, or you will have your wish come true. More likely with Uranus and Gemini, you make a wish and you will get the answer of how to accomplish that wish. But Uranus is an energy that answers prayers and gives us the insight that we need to get what we want. However this unfolds, whether that is an increase in electric feelings, whether that is experimenting or drastic change, do it all with curiosity with Uranus in Gemini. This is energy that's more open-minded than usual, and it's through this open-minded process and collective joining and meeting of ideas that we really have an opportunity to create some big change. Now, this magic triangle, this is ease and luck with this type of transformation. Pluto is in Aquarius, which is Uranus's sign, and Uranus is in Gemini, and they're both air signs. They're trining each other. They are at the bottom of this triangle that's pointing towards Neptune and Saturn in Aries. And Aries is a fire sign. So this air is fueling the fire. Aries wants to shoot out of the gate and just go for it. Saturn here, though, is going to slow things down in all the best ways because of these sextiles. With Neptune here, this is another energy of divine consciousness and creativity. There can be illusion that needs to be sorted through in this process, because when we are getting intuitive ideas, the process of putting that into form is not always a direct line. That can take some time. I have had so many inventive ideas with Uranus that I have never put into material form because I actually don't know how to do that in most cases. For those of you who have these inventive ideas and want to put things into action, it might take some time to get the right support to learn the steps, because Aries, where Saturn and Neptune are, is baby, toddler, brand new energy that we're experimenting, we're testing it out, we're failing, and then we're redoing it. And that's Saturn's support. Saturn wants to see us fail in some ways, and in the most loving way, because Saturn knows that when we fail, we learn, and the lessons are more valuable than the losses. And so it's the big picture. Keep that in mind with whatever you're going through and have fun with this curiosity and experimentation. With Neptune conjunct Saturn in Aries, we want to make sure that what we're doing is for the greater good. And that's all this Uranian Aquarius energy too is the question is going to be, is this really helpful for everyone? Saturn and Neptune and Aries can be a quality of me. I want this. I need this. I'm going to go for this. But where the support comes in this magic triangle is what's better for everyone involved is also going to help me. There is a me and we vibe here. There is more support when we think in that framework. Uranus was in the early degrees of Sagittarius between 1981 and 1988. Those of you who were born during this time are now getting into your Uranus opposition. So this is going to be an extra potent time for you of tearing down the old, really thinking about what it is you want for the second half of your life and moving towards those things. Uranus is going to give you all of the senses and feelings of what it is that you want. This is a time to do what feels right for you, but don't be afraid to make those big leaps, because this magic triangle is the type of energy that is going to very much support the transformation. If you would like more information on Pluto and Saturn and Neptune, I will link those videos in the description below, as well as my 2025 playlist, because we have just had so much going on this year. This is the last big new sign start. As I mentioned, there will be a retrograde in September. Same with Saturn and Neptune. So we are going to have this shift back a sign to Pisces and Taurus in September until early 2026. And then by March, April of 2026, we are full on in these new energies. If you are feeling a lot of back and forth this year, you are exactly where you're meant to be. That's what this year is all about. And change is not linear. Changing habits, changing addictions, changing behavior. We have to be prepared for that oscillation and recognize that there is not a disappointment or a failure in going back one step and another 2 steps forward and then back 1 step and maybe only 1 step forward. This is a natural part of moving forward. It is not a straight line and it is not a continuous momentum. So trust those moments of slowing down or going backwards, especially towards the end of 2025. And just know that by spring of next year, things are going to be moving in a new direction and you're probably going to be quite pleased with it. Another thing to watch for with Uranus in Gemini is that we're going to have more intuitive guidance on the language and terminologies that we use, the communication that we have with other people. So you're going to notice these moments in your body that you might have physical sensations that go off once you've said something. And that's an indicator to look at what you've said and think about how true that is, how it's impacting other people, and is your message getting across as clearly as possible. This is going to be an 8-year opportunity for all of us to really refine the words that we choose and the quality and type of communication that we choose to have with other people. This is the best opportunity for evolution and change in so many places of our lives, because communication is often at the core of that. How our minds talk to ourselves and how they talk to other people, how we move forward in life and how we get things done. And there are so many sentences that are automatic, that were passed down generation to generation, that our parents said to us, that their parents said to them, that become places of mimicking in the world, but that we might not really buy into. And it's these places of mimicking that Uranus is going to call us into new action and to pay attention and to create something new. That what has been mimicked is not authentic. It's outdated. Things that are ancient and in the past, there's some foundational truth to those things, but often they're meant to be left in the past. And there's a severing that needs to happen for us to create the world and the experiences that we want to have moving forward. And absolutely not a place where we want to judge our actions harshly or other people's. It's more of a place of curiosity again, to notice, oh, that's That's how things have been going and being said, and maybe there's a better way. And that's it. It doesn't, with Uranus, it's not an emotional entanglement. With Uranus, we can stay the observer and create change based on observing the system and knowing that there's room for improvement. Thank you so much for being here and for watching this video and all of the support. It really means so much. And now let's get into your sign. Capricorn. Uranus is in your 6th house. So this is all about work, routines, your daily habits, the way that you get things done, the service that you bring to other people, and your health, because our health is a product of our daily habits. And so this is a time with Uranus here where you could definitely feel more energized, more frazzled, but it's probably because you're getting a lot of divine intuitive guidance on how to move forward. You could have complete radical change in your area of work and routines. Your routine could involve more Uranian things, which would be more networks and communities as well as internet stuff. Maybe you work with electricity. This is a great time to focus on your nervous system. Any nervous system tonics, lemon balm, not my scope of practice, but anything that you find that soothes your nerves. If you're feeling more of this radical, excitable energy, but anything that you've been wanting to change when it comes to your routines is going to have a potential to have a sudden breakdown and rebuild. With Uranus, it could even be forces that come outside that are out of your control. But given that this magic triangle is in beautiful sextiles and trines, the radical changes are going to be supportive, and you're going to feel that. They're going to come with a certain ease in those times where it might feel more heightened and more anxious, especially in the 6th house. You're going to have this ability to detach and get a bird's eye view. So remember that you'll always have this, you can take this moment to step back and emotionally disconnect from what's going on and solve the pieces of the puzzle in the 6th house. This is extra excellent work for organization of systems, organizing material in a way that is productive and makes sense, especially with Uranus, which it can come in sometimes erratic and sudden, and it needs to be grounded in something more concrete. Uranus is the ruler of your 2nd house, where Pluto is, and this has to do with what you value, what you ingest, how you feed your body, how you nourish yourself, take care of your own energy. There is a Plutonian transformation happening here for you. And similar to what you've gone through in the last 18 years, 16 years, 18, with Pluto in your sign, you're used to this deeper breaking down. This isn't surface level stuff with Pluto. Crises can come into play. In a trine with Uranus and Pluto, it's going to be an opportunity, even if it feels like a crisis. And it's going to be an opportunity to change how you use your energy, and so that you move through this world in a way that aligns with your values. You're able to manage your assets differently. The work that you're doing on a daily basis and the energy and the health that you put into your routines, that is going to have a lovely payoff for your values and assets, your possessions even. Pluto in your 2nd house could be a complete change of possessions. Whether you are bringing in possessions that assist your daily routines, or you're letting go of possessions and that's somehow helping your health and your routines flow better. There's going to be lovely connection between these two parts of your life in the 2nd and 6th house. The underlying purpose is abundance, security, and enjoying the sensual pleasures of life in your daily experience. And if you felt disconnected from that, as some Capricorns might, the ability to just enjoy the moment and not be working towards the goal is not always something that, as a Capricorn archetype, it naturally stops to do. If pushing forward and the monotonous grind that Saturn and Capricorn can be, if that is not optimal for you anymore, you might start to see these cracks in it, start to realize that there might be a better way of doing things. And Uranus in the next 8 years is going to show you exactly that. Saturn is your ruler with Neptune in your fourth house. Neptune conjunct your ruler is going to give you a sense of dreaminess, creativity, being able to go into this sense of connecting to all things in a new way. And in your fourth house of Aries, this is about your inner world, your inner impulses, perhaps impulses that have been passed down to you through your family and your family lineage, which is the fourth house. How do you find safety and nurturing for yourself and your own inner world? Again, this is an opportunity for connection to an energetic godlike essence with Neptune, and that's going to be your guiding post. Saturn is going to help you put that into form. Saturn is going to help you make sense of lessons out of it. Saturn is also going to help you make sure that impulses are handled constructively. If they're not, you're going to have these experiences where you're going to have a bigger reaction to the action that you take. That's just a moment with Uranus in sextile to this energy of taking an observer perspective of the situation and realizing that this action and reaction is either one you would like to continue or one that you would like to tweak and adjust and do differently. And it could be related to your own home and family, the one that you're currently building, or your inner world if home and family doesn't feel like it resonates. These areas, they do all fit well together when you're remodeling your inner world, when you're monitoring your actions and the reactions you get to that. Your values could change, your assets could change, your abundance, and what you do in the day-to-day, daily way, health-wise, routine-wise, that support you, that's going to help you get to the future that you have been looking to build. And maybe this is even just insight. You didn't know that anything needed to change. And this could be a transit where you're going to just start to have these shots of insight and light bulb moments that show you where you can shift and pivot. I would love to hear how this is going for you, Capricorn. So fun chatting with you in the comments, and a wonderful opportunity to get a one-on-one Zoom reading with me if you feel called to. If you would like to take advantage of my 100th YouTube video gift to you, check out my website link in the description below. You'll see an option there for 2025 yearly planners in the scroll down menu. Fill out the form, put in the notes, congrats on your 100th video, and let me know your sun, moon, and rising sign, or 3 signs that you would like to receive, and I will email those PDFs off to you. We still have a lot of the year to go and to plan and to take a look at what's in store. Excited to be there with you through the journey, and thank you for being here for this one. Have a wonderful Uranus in Gemini transit, and I will see you next time. Aquarius. Uranus in Gemini is in your 5th house, and Uranus is your ruler. The 5th house is all about your creative self-expression, your ability to have fun and really align with what is authentic to you. This is going out and having fun. This is dating. This is play. This is children. Children could come into your life in ways that are different. So they could be children that are not your own children. This is energy where there can be more scientific intervention into having children, or that's going on with your children if you already have them. This could be a time where your children are going through neurological upgrades and extra sensitivity. This is a time for you, though, where your creative self-expression gets this boost of divine intelligence and an ability to observe what you're doing, observe yourself, observe how authentic you're being. It's by aligning with what's most authentic that you feel this connection to more creativity and being more yourself. Because Aquarius is your ruler, you have this natural ability to see things from an observer perspective, the bird's eye view. You can understand the systems and how they work and not get too emotionally entangled in them. But at the same time, that lack of emotional entanglement could mean that you're not fully engaging in this self and embodiment of the fifth house Leo energy. There can be a sense of disconnection with Aquarius energy where feeling like you're different than the system and other people can create a bit of going off on your own and just doing things anyway because that's what feels good and that's what feels authentic. But in the fifth house, in the house of Leo, that is where a part of you wants to shine, be seen, be in the light, be this vital expression of golden energy. Because it is in trine to Pluto in your sign, so in your first house, you are going through these deeper purging transformational movements of how you operate in the world, the persona that you share with others. And Uranus is here to help you be more you. It is here to bring the Aquarius in check in your creative energy and to allow yourself to be seen by others. Have more of a sense of vitality with this expression of being different. Because in our society, the way it is now, a lot of Aquarians, and it always depends on your own personal chart, but a lot of Aquarians will feel that sense of and desire to express what's different. But past conditioning could have encouraged a lot of Aquarius energy to go on without recognition because the challenge sometimes can be one of friction. And we don't want to cause friction in the societies that we're in. And when you have this bird's eye view of how things operate, you can see, oh, that's just how everyone is. And I'm just going to not mind them and they're going to not mind me. And we're going to go along our own separate ways. But there is an isolation and a loneliness in that. And there's a part of being human that does not want to exist in this ether of disconnection. It wants to find connection in this material world. And this is that transit for you. Your communication is going to be a huge part of this. Saturn and Neptune in your third house in Aries is at the bottom of this magic triangle in sextile to both Pluto and Uranus. And it is bringing new thoughts, new ideas. You will feel a stronger ability to follow through on ideas and insights that you have, especially Neptune, so very creative and connected to all things. You're going to have more insight into how to feel more connected to all energy and in constructive, physical, structural ways with Capricorn and in physical, constructive ways with Saturn. There's going to be this feeling of slowing down the impulses that you're getting and using them constructively with your own mind and with sharing these ideas with other people. Back to Uranus in the fifth house, Gemini is about the exchange of ideas with others. It is very chatty and communicative, and the third house is the classic position for Gemini where you have Saturn and Neptune. An ability to, again, share things with other people in ways that you might have felt unheard or unseen before. Be patient with this process. It might not happen overnight, but you're going to have these moments where you feel like it clicks more than it did before in your own mind and when sharing ideas with other people. For Aquarians out there who are in media of any kind, writing, communication work, you are especially going to get a boost of creative impulse and you're going to have unlimited creativity to tap into if you want to. Neptune can also make it feel foggy at first. So as part of being in that creative realm, which I'm sure a lot of Aquarians are familiar and used to, there can be a fog with Neptune creativity, that you're in the zone and you're in this trance. And it can also be an element as another aspect of disconnection, dissociation. Uranus and Neptune can both do that as well. So you're going to have to do that dance, and Saturn's going to help you in the third house with when you're in the zone and in your creative process, when you are dissociating and disconnected too much, and you're going to bring it back into a place that's productive, that is getting your intelligence and words and communication out there. The third house, where Neptune and Saturn are, can also rule transportation, communities, like neighborhood communities, short distance travel, the people that you're closest to. Bring those in. You're going to have more larger networks come into your fifth house with children and creative self-expression, but that can feel like there's a bit of a distance between you and those larger communities and networks. Whereas your third house with Neptune and Saturn are allowing you to bring in your close people. It could even have to do with siblings, close relatives, aunts and uncles. Neptune can dissolve and be very healing at the same time. Neptune can bring rose-colored glasses, so you might feel moments of over-optimism and getting lost in the ideals. Yet Saturn is here to bring that practicality, that very grounded energy that's going to show you, this is what's really real. I love the energy of bridging that gap, bringing the ideal into reality, into form. I really do believe that in a lot of cases we can make that work, and that it's having that dreamy ideal that helps us understand the path with Saturn to climb to that ideal, to work towards that ideal, and to bring it into our lives in a physical way. The journey doesn't always happen right away, though. Saturn and Neptune can be slow energy. And in the sign of Aries, where you're used to having a lot of pep in your step and just going for things and shooting off ideas and just seeing where they land and not really caring where they land, but it's more about the following the impulse of thought and creativity, you're going to start to see the value of letting it simmer and knowing that taking action is great. It's an amazing quality to have in your third house, but to evolve it to the next stage that it wants to be at, that you're going to have the opportunity to reflect on what's constructive and what might just be shooting you in the foot or slowing things down or not getting the results that you want. You let me know how this is going for you, Aquarius. It is so much fun chatting with you in the comments below. Thank you so much for being here and supporting this work. If you would like to take advantage of my 100th YouTube video gift to you, check out my website link in the description below. You'll see an option there for 2025 yearly planners in the scroll down menu. Fill out the form, put in the notes, congrats on your 100th video, and let me know your sun, moon, and rising sign, or 3 signs that you would like to receive, and I will email those PDFs off to you. We still have a lot of the year to go and to plan and to take a look at what's in store. Excited to be there with you through the journey, and thank you for being here for this one. Have a wonderful Uranus and Gemini transit, and I will see you next time. Hi, Pisces. Uranus is in your 4th house. This is going to be a transit where your inner world is getting a lot of divine inspiration, flashes of insight. You could move to unusual places. You could find more community in your home. Most likely for a lot of people, Uranus in the 4th house is going to show up as getting divine insight into the makings of your inner world. You could understand in new ways where trauma has fractured you off from feeling a sense of home and safety. And by understanding this fractured system in your inner world, you can put pieces together to feel more security and safety and family connection and nurturing. With Gemini in your 4th house, that's going to come from ideas, chatting with other people, sharing ideas, reading. It could come from reading more articles, watching videos, rebuilding what home and family mean to you. Something that's completely new from the way that you were raised. from the family lineage that you came from your mother with the fourth house is mother and family. Your own family could go through some radical change. With this trine to Pluto in your 12th house to your fourth house, this is extra potent intuitive guidance for you. It is very likely going to come from the ether, where through meditation or whichever practices you do, I'm probably just sitting around, maybe resting while you're at home, time away in your bedroom. These are the moments where you're going to get more insight into the home changes that you want to make. Saturn and Neptune are in your second house in this magic triangle. And Saturn and Neptune in the second house want to change your values, change how you enjoy the sensual pleasures in life, how you nourish your body, how you manage your energy. This triangle and the placements here could mean that managing your energy is more time at home, more time resting, more time away from the rest of the world. Pluto in your 12th house in Aquarius is about transforming how you retreat and observe the energy that connects us all. And Pisces, this is your domain, the 12th house. So you are naturally gifted at understanding the networks of the energetic connections behind things. But what you value when it comes to that with Saturn and Neptune in your second house, how you manage your energy when you do that, and the assets and possessions that you have in the world. How do these fit into your energetic management? And you're going to start to see these imprints and energetic patterns more of how this all works together. How your family upbringing has affected this process for you. Maybe your family upbringing dictated how much energy you expend towards others, how much rest you're allowed to have, what you value, and the sort of possessions you have or the way that you eat. And so that is all shifting. You're not taking information any longer from that family upbringing and that automatic DNA and energetic process. Uranus here is going to make that more from a divine flow of energy, where you're going to see new ways of doing things that could be radically different from the way you were raised to do them. And especially with your thought processes, because Gemini is your thought process and the words that you use. And those are very much an automatic programming that we get from our families. But not with this transit for Pisces. This is a time where you are tuned into messages that are radically different. Back to possessions and values, these intuitive downloads are going to help you shift your energy management. It could change the tone of your voice even. It could change the foods that you eat. And you might get some tougher lessons or slowing down that process with Saturn here in the second house. So don't stress if it's the whole 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or you feel like you're making progress and then that action creates a negative reaction. This is all part of Saturn's way of teaching us new things. Failure and curiosity are such an important part of this transit. With all growth, we cannot change without seeing the failures, sometimes really like magnified on the big screen is how it happens to me sometimes. And when it's something that really gets my attention and rattles me that much more, I learn that much better. I still might do it again. I just want to create this extra emphasis on forgiveness for trying out new things and having it fail. Having things not work out is such a normal part of the process. As many wise people say, we learn more from our failures than we do from our successes. And that's not to say that this phase is going to be full of failures. Not at all. The opposite's probably more true, where when we're being guided by something new and radical, it's likely the right path, but the implementation of change to your values with Saturn there, it could just feel like hitting a wall sometimes. And Uranus energy could do that because as free and liberating as it is, it's different than the norm. It's different than the safety of the constructs that have been old and dependable and there, maybe not working, but there. I had a conversation recently with someone about loyalty, a wonderful attribute, but when the conditions of loyalty to the past and pinning us down to something that is not allowing us to soar and transform, then it becomes this painful breaking free of that. And there's something in our psyches that wants comfort and safety. At the same time, in order to get it with Uranus in your fourth house of comfort and safety, you need to break free from something. And that can be like this more painful bursting forward sometimes. However, this magic triangle, I'm calling it that because of the sextiles and trines. And so this is easy flow. There is a sense of us just going with the flow of things, going with opportunities that come up, and trusting that we don't know where we're going to land. And that with really radical change, that's just sometimes how it goes. So do what you can to keep that observer mind, liberate yourself from past things when it comes to family. Uranus is going to be here to do that for you anyway, but trust that any changes that feel sudden and abrupt are really meant to be, and there's some divine assistance behind that. Even if it doesn't feel like it at the moment, because Uranus change, it's that change that takes our breath away, that we don't have time sometimes to process what's happened. And maybe that's where Pluto in your 12th house and Uranus at home is going to allow you space to rest and be comforted in this process. So find those moments where you can take time to recharge, take time to assess what really matters to you energetically and with material possessions, and what allows you to feel secure and safe, even if you have to rebuild. That's what Uranus is about. It is this inner security and safety that is not dependent on the way that the world can be, and especially Uranus can be, with breaking things down or rebuilding and breaking down and rebuilding. There's security in trusting that process is what's really going to show up for a lot of Pisces out there. You let me know how this is going for you, Pisces. So much fun to chat with you in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you would like to take advantage of my 100th YouTube video gift to you, check out my website link in the description below. You'll see an option there for 2025 yearly planners in the scroll down menu. Fill out the form, put in the notes, congrats on your 100th video, and let me know your sun, moon, and rising sign, or 3 signs that you would like to receive, and I will email those PDFs off to you. We still have a lot of the year to go and to plan and to take a look at what's in store. Excited to be there with you through the journey, and thank you for being here for this one. Have a wonderful Uranus and Gemini transit, and I will see you next time. Aries, Uranus is in your 3rd house of Gemini. This is a wonderful energy for communication and ideas. You're going to have downloads more than other people, where media can be inspiring. Things that you take in with information and what you share with others with information is going to go through radical changes. Flashes of insight, of new ideas and concepts are very likely. You are likely to be able to put things into form more than usual, but do take your time with this process. This is a slow game with Saturn in your sign. Uranus in your 3rd house could have you feeling more detached from what other people are saying. This is in an emotionally detached way, so you're not taking things personally. With media or news or what other people say or the conversations that you have, you're going to be able to see things from more of an observer perspective and know that there's a bigger story at play. And we're going to be reworking this language. So you're going to be able to see this in the conversations that you're having and notice where there's an opportunity for change and doing things differently. But you're going to notice it from a place of not being critical of the other person or the media that you're noticing. You're going to have a curiosity about, what does this mean from a bigger perspective and in the big picture of things? What is the real story behind the words that people are saying? You could come up with unusual new language, and I'm always throwing this in there that we can always use new ways of saying things that have more meaning that's applicable for the places that we're going, not where we have been. Saturn and Neptune in your sign are adding another layer of intuitive connection to all things creativity. You could be more curious about film, photography. With this configuration of Uranus in your third house and Neptune in your first house, you could easily get more psychic feeling downloads and energy coming at you. Saturn's going to help you put it into form. But be careful not to go off too much into dissociation in this process. Maybe you will. Maybe that'll be part of it. There's certainly a strong energy for that with Uranus and Neptune, that this ability to get lost in the energetic realms could happen. And with Uranus, it's more about being disconnected and observing to the point of feeling detached from what's actually going on. So know that your words do have an impact. You don't want to get to that point where you're too detached from how your words affect other people, especially creating something new, because there can always be a bit of resistance to some of this Uranus change. The sextile to Saturn in your sign is where you have that ability to be constructive, to be disciplined with what you're putting out there and not just following the impulse, but using a constructive platform to do that. Pluto in your 11th house is part of this magic triangle. It is in trine to Uranus and sextile to Saturn and Neptune in your sign. Pluto is transforming your networks. If you are someone has an audience, who is in media, and you're putting things out to the masses, this is extra potent for transforming and reaching people in a transformative way. You have so much power to change things right now, Aries, to change things for other people. And Saturn in your sign is going to show you all the most responsible ways to do that. Saturn will help you be respectful when it comes to the timeliness that things are done. Diligent, showing up on time, doing the hard work. Because the radical, clever ideas are one thing, but there's an earthly process that we go through to create this change and transformation. And Pluto in your 11th house, this piece has the power to transform who you connect to, who your audience is, but how you reach them, how you connect to others, how you observe, because it's Aquarius. But with the ruler of Aquarius being Uranus in your third house, this is the words and the mindset that you have. You could be using more humor, more playfulness and trickery and curiosity with Uranus in Gemini. And that's part of the process of discovery and interconnection, with Uranus being the ruler of your 11th house, which is where Pluto is. The transforming of your community and networks, if you have an audience, the people that you reach through your words, it is the interconnectedness that happens through playfulness and curiosity and being open to hearing other people's perspectives as well as sharing your own that can create change. You might find that the people that you surround yourself with change because of your own mindset shifting. If you are feeling like you are becoming more of an observer, being able to see things for what they are and not get emotionally entangled, not being offended by what other people's perspective or words are, then you're able to communicate your own message in more effective ways. Your communities could change to reflect more of where you're currently at. Don't worry if you feel like Saturn is not allowing every action to move forward. There's going to be this feeling of putting things out there and getting feedback that works, feedback that doesn't work, and knowing that that's all important parts of the process of changing our mindset and changing our language. That's a really big deal. And it's through observing our own mistakes and the things that work well that we create this bigger picture of what really is effective and how we want to create change and the things we want to keep the same. Don't let Saturn discourage your ability to follow your instincts. Know that what you are getting is important insight, and it's just the connection and delivery that is going to go through ongoing longer transformations. Trust the intuition and know that you're going to feel less emotionally involved in some ways. We have Jupiter in Cancer all year, and that's where the emotion is going to be happening for a whole year until the end of next June, 2026. But as far as this magic triangle that I've been talking about, this is not an emotional energy. This is intellectual, transformative. This is solely about ideas and observing how things work without emotional entanglement. And it's through that process that we can create more change. We can take more action. It's the emotional process that sometimes keeps us attached to the old. And there will be lots of that. There'll be emotional purging with Jupiter in Cancer. And I talk about that in my Jupiter in Cancer video. I will link that below. But watch for becoming too emotionally disconnected. There will be some balancing to do there. Overall, very exciting for you, Aries. This is big to have Saturn and Neptune in your sign and to be at the top of this triangle that is so important with Uranus and Pluto. I would love to hear how this is showing up for you. Let me know in the comments below. If you would like to take advantage of my 100th YouTube video gift to you, check out my website link in the description below. You'll see an option there for 2025 yearly planners in the scroll down menu. Fill out the form, put in the notes, congrats on your 100th video, and let me know your sun, moon, and rising sign or 3 signs that you would like to receive, and I will email those PDFs off to you. We still have a lot of the year to go and to plan and to take a look at what's in store. Excited to be there with you through the journey, and thank you for being here for this one. It is so much fun to chat astrology with you. Have a wonderful transit, and I will see you next time. Hi, Taurus. Uranus in your second house. Well, for you, you have just finished Uranus in your sign. You were able to look at yourself more from an objective perspective compared to usual. You could have liberated yourself from an old you, from the person that other people project you to be. That maybe you're not so concerned about other people's perceptions of you, or you're taking in more of that information to transform and create a more radical version of yourself that is not so tied to security. And really, that's about knowing that the security is within you. It doesn't matter what's happening on the outside. Taurus knows best how to create a world of security, dependability, qualities that they really value. But we can't always control other people. So inevitably, that has to always come from within. Even the material security that we create doesn't always, well, for a Taurus, it does stay pretty predictable and practical. But the point is, it's still about a form of security for yourself, a form of being able to really observe who you are and implement changes, or those changes were implemented for you over the last 8 years, likely more of a connection to insight, and that's helped you transform who you are as an individual. Now you have this energy in your second house, which is all about your resources, your assets. So you're going over the same themes. The second house is a Taurus house. What do you find beautiful and sensual in the world? What do you enjoy about the earthly pleasures? Tauruses love high quality, nutritious food, sometimes simple, like just fruit fresh off the trees and the basic forms that food and nourishment is supposed to come in, or exquisite cuisine that is put together like an art piece and designed for pleasure and a beautiful experience. You're about to get the observer bird's eye view of that part of your life. But Gemini is the ruler of the second house for you. You could be open to a lot of new ideas when it comes to your values and your possessions. There might be a sense of duality with the second house being ruled by Gemini, where you can both have a lot and feel a lack, or you could feel that you have a lot, but you actually have a little. And you could realize that those things always coexist. So there's a new level that you're reaching with Uranus here of understanding the dualities with security that exist, and yet you can still feel secure, you can still expend energy. You might have sudden insights of intuitive senses of what's good to do with your currency, what's good, how to invest your money, how to manage your energy, how to create new recipes and foods that you like to enjoy. Especially if Uranus in your sign in your first house was more about developing a stronger sense of connection to divine intelligence and knowing that you don't have to make all of the choices and the decisions in this world. It's not a sole responsibility. There's guidance if we want it. There's a sense and a deep intuition that we can get to help make decisions and to support us in the process. The divine intelligence of the world, of how things work, when we tap into that, there's new knowledge that we can rely on. Gemini in the second house is also about relying on knowledge and research and information and data to make your decisions about your assets, your money. Now you might shift into more of an intuitive sense of what works for you and what doesn't. With Uranus in your second house, you could be focused on cryptocurrency or things that have to do with electricity and modernizing things, or the connection to all things like networks and investing in internet programs and things like that. The trine with Pluto is in your 10th house. So there's big transformations with Pluto and Uranus. Big transformations with Pluto in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus in your second house. So the transformation that you're doing for your public image, your work out in the world, how you're seen by other people, the things that you're working towards and building in life. This could be your connection with authority figures. There's going to be a synergistic relationship between these two throughout this year and into next year, with a bit of a backstep at the end of 2025 and the beginning. So we're still doing this back and forth, but in later of 2026, you're going to be under this influence again that you're in now. Pluto in Aquarius, you can start to feel some of the darker experiences when it comes to authority and power struggles. The people that have authority over you, structures in society that need to be remodeled and redone, uplifted. You have always had a sense of being able to see what it means to be in charge and authority from a observer bird's eye view perspective and how that works in the world. But Pluto here is going to show you some different sides where you can see that some of the ways of taking charge or being in charge, moving towards your goals, might have space for some purging. Saturn and Neptune in your 12th house. Saturn is the classic representation of Capricorn in the 10th house, and authority and structure and discipline and working towards our goals, slowing things down. Because it's in the 12th house for you and this combination with Pluto in your 10th, I can see it being more about dissolving systems of authority, people that have authority over you, or areas where you try to have authority over others. It's through rest and meditation and retreat, taking a time out from the world, that you start to see ways that this can transform. And it's going to benefit your assets and your financial picture. It could create sudden changes and certain things crumble and other things grow when it comes to your assets and your possessions, your own energy, and the money that you are investing and trying to grow. This is using systems in your favor, but you're going to want to see some of the old systems fall away. And you're going to start to see where new systems can be more beneficial. This is a wonderful time to be curious about new internet systems, software that helps you manage business or manage your finances. Tauruses out there could be intuitively downloading ideas and inspiration to create new software and to be leaders in the world with restructuring the way things have been done in business. Neptune in your 12th house is energy of dissolving, though. It's very strong for you. So that influence on Uranus and Pluto is going to come with ease. And you're going to, if there have been things that you've wanted to fall away, then this is going to initiate some of that. And you're going to see better things grow in its place. Don't worry if you start to see old systems dissolve. It is part of a process for new creation to come in. This could have to do with your communities and your networks. A lot of Aquarius emphasis for you because Neptune is the ruler of your 11th house as well. And being in the 12th house, again, there's this sense that you're going to feel more connected at an energetic level to all things, to communities, to understanding how to work in alignment with authority and work situations, public responsibilities when you're in the public eye. And you can have old subconscious patterns dissolve with Neptune and Saturn in Aries, especially if you have had subconscious patterns that create impulse and desire or that hold you back from that. Because Taurus are more structured. And so if you have been holding back on some of your true desires to create change and try new things, you might have these subconscious urges to try new things with Aries being in your 12th house. Really going to create an easier flow with the transition of Pluto in your 10th with career and reputation and your public image, your status in the world, and Uranus in your 2nd with your values and assets. So go with the flow. If you get dreams that feel like guidance to you, that could be where some of the inspiration to dissolve old things and bring in the new comes from. A wonderful time for meditation overall, and anything that you're investing in or that you're doing out in the world, if there is a greater humanitarian focus to it, it's going to have more success. It's that purpose of benefiting all that's going to benefit you. You let me know how this is going for you, Taurus. I would love to hear in the comments as some of these events unfold. If you would like to take advantage of my 100th YouTube video gift to you, check out my website link in the description below. You'll see an option there for 2025 yearly planners in the scroll down menu. Fill out the form, put in the notes, congrats on your 100th video, and let me know your sun, moon, and rising sign or 3 signs that you would like to receive, and I will email those PDFs off to you. We still have a lot of the year to go and to plan and to take a look at what's in store. Excited to be there with you through the journey, and thank you for being here for this one, and I will see you next time. Hi, Gemini. Uranus is in your sign. This is radical changes for you. You are going to be feeling a bit more electric. You're going to be feeling connection to intelligence, and what a lovely energy for Geminis, because you are open to this new information. You're going to soak it in really well. I think you're going to enjoy getting more of this feeling of connection to this divine knowing of how you work, because it's in your sign. So you're going to be able to see yourself from an observer perspective and see the bigger picture of what's going on with your human experience, your human expression, the way that you project yourself to other people. And that projection in general that happens on the 1st and 7th house axis from self and other people could see you as having radically different perspectives, ways of operating in the world, and you're not going to care. You're going to have a more detached feeling than before for some of you of caring about how you're received from others. But there will be this fine-tuning that needs to occur with not getting too emotionally detached from the experience of life. Jupiter in your 2nd house of Cancer, that's where the emotional expansion is going to be happening. That's more about your values and your energy. You can check out my Jupiter in Cancer video if you want more information on that. This magic triangle and Uranus in your sign, this is more about intellectual curiosity. expanding the way you communicate, the way that you take in ideas. As a Gemini, you already do this so naturally. So you're going to take in likely this shift and this ability to tear down old ideas a lot easier than some other signs. Pluto is in trine this Uranus from your ninth house, and this is also about ideas and spiritual purpose, understanding the bigger purpose of it all, understanding the truth behind everything. Because Gemini energy is about the words, the chit chat, chatter, the mental chatter, the mental state that we're in. But the question with Pluto in your ninth house is in Aquarius, which is a very mental energy. It is this divine intelligence, is what's the truth behind the words that are being spoken. You're going to have an ability to tap into that network more than other people. And you're going to see behind the words, you're going to feel the energy and how it's affecting the system as a whole. And then you're going to rework for yourself, especially with your networks and community that you are connected to. Saturn and Neptune are in your 11th house of what you do for the greater good, of humanitarian efforts, of communities and networks. And you're going to be working constructively to create more of an ideal in this part of your life with Neptune there. Neptune is the rose-colored glasses and working towards an ideal and understanding that we are all things. We are all connected at this energetic source to the best that we can comprehend that. And with Aries as the ruler of your 11th house, you have a natural impulse to work towards this. And that's part of the Gemini curiosity, is that you want to learn more. You know that there is an endless, vast world of detail and information, and the labels and words that we put on things are limiting. So you are in some ways a constant seeker. You're on this axis of Gemini and Sagittarius, which Sagittarius is the constant seeker and Gemini is energy that puts it into action and functional daily form. These are energies that are really lit up by this configuration. Who are the people that you're delivering this message to, or the people that are delivering messages to you? There's room for reconstruction here. There's room for crystallizing networks and communities and making them last the test of time. So taking them from rose-colored glasses and this ideal of sense of people or networks and making it functional, practical. And it's that functionality and practicality that can crystallize and create the long-lasting community. But you are radically changing. Your people are going to need to radically change with you. A lot of Geminis could take on teaching roles, or if you have been in a teaching role, that could completely turn upside down with Pluto in your ninth house. If you have been a Gemini that's just curious about everything in detail, then you're going to be putting a stronger purpose to that. And you're probably going to be doing something with that purpose. This is a wonderful time to have an online audience, to share your messages with the world. It might start out slow with Saturn there, but in 3 years, you're going to have put in this wonderful foundation energy. And once Saturn has moved on to Taurus in 3 years' time, then you're going to see this huge payoff of all the work that you've put in to these networks. You're going to start to see the rose-colored glasses, and you're going to start to be able to create in even bigger ways because Neptune is going to be in this part of your chart on its own for a little while. Smaller transits, of course, but Neptune in Aries is wild creation, like really having this passion to push creation out into the world and into your network of people that you're connected to in this world. Uranus in your first house for you is a good time to take extra care of your nerves. So tonics like magnesium and lemon balm or other things, not my scope of practice yet, but I tend to take on a lot of that energetic, electric type energy in my life, and I do find it helpful to take rest, take time out. You're going to feel parts of yourself shift, and that can feel uncomfortable in stages. And you might want to take more breaks with that too. If you are in a teaching role, it is likely that you will have new information to share with people that has not been done before. And that could really revolutionize different groups that you're a part of. You can have an opportunity to change a lot of things, but being different than the crowd comes with its challenges sometimes. So be prepared for that. With Uranus, you will have a disconnection from that. You'll be okay with it, but don't let it allow you to get so disconnected that you don't feel the empathetic connection with others, or that you lose track of the empathetic connection with others. Enjoy this energy, Gemini. Let me know how this is going for you in the comments below. Always so much fun chatting with you there. And thank you so much for supporting these videos. If you would like to take advantage of my 100th YouTube video gift to you, check out my website link in the description below. You'll see an option there for 2025 yearly planners in the scroll down menu. Fill out the form, put in the notes, congrats on your 100th video, and let me know your sun, moon, and rising sign, or 3 signs that you would like to receive, and I will email those PDFs off to you. We still have a lot of the year to go and to plan and to take a look at what's in store. Excited to be there with you through the journey, and thank you for being here for this one, and I will see you next time. Cancer, this magical triangle is at the top of your chart. So you have Neptune and Saturn in your 10th house. Uranus is making this 8-year transit in your 12th house. This is intuitive downloads, absolutely wonderful time for meditation, taking in divine intelligent information that has not yet been created, has not yet been talked about, might have some challenges connecting with the groups of the masses initially. But with this support of this triangle with Pluto in your 8th house, which is the Aquarius energy, which is what Uranus rules. So big transformation of your psyche. Your 12th house is your subconscious, and the 8th house is the subconscious upheaval and renewal and transformation. So you could be tapping into radical dreams. Your sleep could be affected, so this is a good time to take extra supplements if needed to help sleep. Have a good sleep routine, and dream journaling, absolutely, with energy like this. It can really help transform your psyche. I could see a lot of Cancers putting this material out in the world, being a leader for psychological, intuitive transformation, coming up with new radical ideas for how to psychologically heal, divine guidance for working towards career goals, accomplishing what you want out in the world. You're less impulsive than usual with Saturn here in Aries in your 10th house. So you normally have a good drive to work towards important things. And depending on the Cancer out there in your personal chart, you could have different relationships with authority, how you are a leader in your own world and how you work with leaders. There's certainly a dissolving quality in this 10th house of leadership with Neptune there, and Saturn wants to also crystallize Neptune so that if you've had ideals of what authority and leadership should look like, Saturn can help you really make that stand the test of time and bring it into reality, not just rose-colored glasses and a dream and an ideal of how things should be. You're really going to have the discipline to slow things down and take action that is both responding to this inner drive and impulse that you have to move forward, but having a plan. That's the Saturn piece. This is just such a beautiful triangle to have divine guidance be part of that plan. You're not doing this from a practical mentality of how things have been done in the past. You're using those tools to get it out into the world, but you're getting brand new information. You're getting brand new ideas of how to do that. Take lots of time to rest, retreat where you need to, because that's what's going to give you the best ideas. And you can transform how you feel about death and birth cycles. And I mean this in an energetic form, that we go through many deaths and births throughout our lives of recreating who we are. This is a time where that can come with a lot of ease, and you can get a lot of deep work done with Pluto in trine to Uranus from your 12th to your 8th house. There's an ease of connecting this connection and psychic energy that you have to all things, and using that to go so deep in your own transformation that you could come out of this. I mean, this is going to be years from now, with Pluto and Uranus being slow moving planets, but your intimacy will grow as a result, because that's an 8th house benefit. And your intimacy is going to grow because you're going more into this ease of flow with Uranus in the 12th house, of not creating resistance to get things done. There's a part of yin energy in the 12th house that is about going with the flow of what is already in existence, and knowing that sometimes that takes time, patience, trust, but that when we follow guidance outside of ourselves in an energetically divine connected way, and we're not creating the friction in the practical world that we've been taught to move forward with, using a balance of both, of course, because the reality is that we live in this physical world and we have physical laws and rules that we need to abide by. But knowing that trusting that deeper flow is going to be a big part of your 8-year Uranus journey. This is an energy where some Cancerians could start to feel like they're developing clairaudience. With Uranus and Gemini, you're getting an actual literal words coming to you that are feeding you with new information. Some of you on the flip side could become completely detached from trusting in that faith. There could be or have been some traumatic experiences with authority figures, with leadership, with this trust in a higher purpose and godlike quality and energy to the world. If that's the way that this is playing out for some of you, it's through that detachment and lack of trust that you are able to recreate a new way of viewing it all, that's still going to have purpose and a sense of connection of energy to things, but you're going to rewrite it in a way that makes more sense to you. This isn't about picking up spiritual religions or teachings from other people. It's that may have let you down in the past, and now you feel this inspiration that it's not the way it's been taught to you, that there's something else, there's something new that needs to come through. And a lot of Cancers can have a default, the archetype on its own can have a need for safety and retreat and wanting the security of family and being more in the 4th house energy of home and nurturing and safety. Yet this 10th house triangle for you with Neptune and Saturn in your 10th is about your leadership and being more visible and being out there, which if you have had any discomfort in that, this transit is going to help reprogram your energetic field so that you have less resistance to going out in public and being seen and being a leader in this world. Jupiter in your sign is going to have everybody needing to feel more safety and security. Everyone is going to need to feel more of a sense of nurturing and connection to home and family, whatever home and family is for each of us. And it's you, Cancer, who has this innate ability to share that with others who have less Cancer energy maybe in their chart. Because you understand this archetype more than the other signs, it could be this very thing that gives you a role of leadership in the world, that you can show what it's like to create a sense of security and teach others how to do that, or lead by example with 10th house activation. Maybe this is just how you get things done. You're embodying more of your Cancerian purpose and putting that out into projects. And you're finding that it's through nurturing that your leadership improves and your relationship with authority figures improves as well. I would love to hear how this is going for you in the comments below, Cancer. Always so much fun chatting with you there. Thank you for reaching out for readings and showing support on this channel and just watching this video. If you would like to take advantage of my 100th YouTube video gift to you, check out my website link in the description below. You'll see an option there for 2025 yearly planners in the scroll down menu. Fill out the form, put in the notes, congrats on your 100th video, and let me know your sun, moon, and rising sign or 3 signs that you would like to receive, and I will email those PDFs off to you. We still have a lot of the year to go and to plan and to take a look at what's in store. Excited to be there with you through the journey, and thank you for being here for this one. Have a wonderful Uranus and Gemini transit, and I will see you next time. Hi, Leo. Uranus is in your 11th house, which is classically the house for Aquarius. This is very Aquarian energy for you, about communities, networks. It's the audience that you reach. It's the connections that you have in the world that are communities and societies that you're a part of. With Uranus in Gemini here, you could be going through sudden changes with these organizations. You're going to be more drawn than ever to organizations that fuel your mind, that are divinely inspired as well. You could experience complete teardowns and rebuilds of certain communities and audiences. You could be more passionate about humanitarian projects and doing things that reach the masses, that help shift into a better ideal with this sextile from Neptune in your 9th house. So Saturn and Neptune at the top of this triangle in your 9th house of truth seeking, of understanding the big picture of things, of spiritual seeking, of this is all energy about seeing the big picture. Maybe having a more spiritual process around some of this stuff. You might seek more foreign people, foreign places, foreign experiences, things that are unfamiliar to you, and you're going to feel maybe courageous. But Saturn here is going to dampen the impulse that you normally have with Aries in the 9th house of leaping into new things and experiences and ideas. There's more of a desire for purpose and long-term gain than just taking these unpredictable leaps towards knowledge and experiences. You're going to want to make sure that it has purpose behind it, long-term purpose, and that it's working towards an ideal. And this triangle, I'm talking about them all 3 together because they're not going to be working in isolation this year. Pluto in your 7th house is also the house that Uranus rules. So partnerships and other people are going to be part of the transition of your communities and networks. If you are in a significant partnership or relationship, this can transform your societies and communities and networks. It might be through that partnership. You might gain new partnerships through being part of different communities and exploring and not hopping around necessarily, but you could be part of an organization or a society and that dissolves or no longer interests you, or you get creative insight, divine guidance, or understanding more from an observer perspective what an organization or a system is all about. And then you are drawn to it. You're drawn to leave the old, bring in something new. You might even feel a sense of isolation at times from certain groups and then move on to others because they're a better fit for what you need energetically. And through that, you're going to develop significant partners. Romantic, business, karmic, this is going to be different for everyone. But the connection here is that through these bigger groups, through your search for community and humanitarian efforts, maybe through wanting to connect to all things and bigger networks, you're going to find your special people, the partners that are going to be with you long term for projects, for growth, for friendships, for romantic committed partnerships as well. And all of this is going to have a peak theme of searching for bigger truths, bigger purpose, being adventurous, and going after those adventures with a plan. A lot of Leos could be endlessly seeking an ideal under this energy. And the endlessly seeking part is that once you start to try to crystallize and make something concrete out of an ideal, you might abort mission and then return, and then abort mission and start a new one. This could manifest in a lot of starting and stopping and rebuilding for a little while. So trust in that process. Don't avoid feeling frustration or like there's a mistake being made because things aren't sticking right away. Saturn in your ninth house promises that these bigger plans and the search for bigger truths and understanding in the world, it will stick. But there could be a start and stop, and that's part of the path. That's part of flowing through new connections and new people too. I can see a lot of Leos keeping this part of your life really fresh, where people need to be an energetic match for you, but you're going to also find that the ways that you feel different and more of that black sheep energy of who you are in connection to others, especially committed partnerships, because that is ruled by Aquarius. So you might have always had a sense of doing things in unusual ways with your partnerships, being a bit ahead of the way things have been done in the past, but that there's a sense of disconnection with that as well. And I think Pluto is going to help you feel more connected in the process of being different, in the process of doing things in a new way that are not always understood and met by other people. And that will reflect in your bigger networks as well. But there's purpose to it. There's purpose to some of this chaos that I'm picking up on with your relationships and communities. And you're going to start to see that as Saturn goes through your ninth house over the next 3 years. You're going to start to understand more and more as it slowly builds, and it slowly makes something concrete out of all of this somewhat untangible energy. And that's Uranus and Neptune. They're more of a frequency that we feel and understand at an intellectual frequency than something we can hold and grasp and concretely work with. But Saturn will have its role there. So that might sound all a little intangible, even as I'm saying all of this, but I think that's going to be the point for a little while. I would love to hear how this is going for you. Let me know in the comments below if you're finding these transformations with community and relationships and suddenly more of a desire to understand the purpose of things. Some Leos could get into teaching, and you might have a different audience or community rotating through or dissolving and rebuilding as you teach. And that's part of what helps teach you as well. So when you're rotating through different audiences for what you are putting out there, that's an organic, synergistic relationship too, where you're learning from each other. Have a wonderful Uranus in Gemini transit, Leo. If you would like to take advantage of my 100th YouTube video gift to you, check out my website link in the description below. You'll see an option there for 2025 yearly planners in the scroll down menu. Fill out the form, put in the notes, congrats on your 100th video, And let me know your sun, moon, and rising sign, or 3 signs that you would like to receive, and I will email those PDFs off to you. We still have a lot of the year to go and to plan and to take a look at what's in store. Excited to be there with you through the journey, and thank you for being here for this one. Thank you for being here, watching this video, and all the support, and I will see you next time. Hi, Virgo. Your leadership in the world is what is going to be affected. Uranus in your 10th house is going to bring you divine inspiration and intelligence and guidance in the ways that you are seen. Especially for Virgos who have a message to get out there, your ideas are going to be different. They're going to be divinely inspired. They're going to not be what we're used to. That can create a sense of disconnect with your leadership as well. But it's going to improve ideas and communication, and over time bring more benefit. And it's both a gift to be different, to have your mind function differently, to think differently, to speak differently. Yet, if there's too much of a gap, it is not as well received. So there could be some adjusting and workings to do there. Saturn and Neptune at the top of this triangle are in your 8th house. This has a lot to do with your psychological transformation and healing for yourself. Death, birth, your deep, intimate bonds. This is a place where you could have an ideal of intimacy and resources and support from other people. But what's real and what is actually possible in a practical, material way is going to be this dance going on for quite some time with Neptune and Saturn in your 8th house, but it's going to be extra potent in July and August of this year, and again starting in the beginning of March, April next year. A lot of Virgos could have their own psychological transformations that are divinely influenced, and then you're sharing that with the world. You could be a leader because you are not following someone else's program, but you have figured out something through your own experience, and that is of value to the growth of whatever work that you're doing. Probably communication with a lot of Virgos. Gemini in the 10th house makes you wonderful at sharing your intellect in a public way and being a leader for thought and communication. Also just seen as chatty, and your chattiness could be more on the radical side. So when you're out in a social environment, you could want to talk about more unusual things. Uranus is the ruler of your 6th house, and that's about your health. That's the Virgo house. Health, work, organization, routines. Your routines are what create health and work efficiency and service out in the world. There's a strong connection with 6th and 10th house stuff where it's what you do every day. The transformations of what you're doing every day could be more seen in the public. You could have more visibility on your healing journey, on your work. You could just be putting that out into the world. And in that process, you're continuing to transform your routine and your habits. It looks like it could play out as an accountability thing when you're more seen for your 6th house activities. There's no hiding around your routine. You can't sneak through unhealthy habits, or you can, but you're going to be more motivated to transform that because it's all out there for other people to see. Or you have an unusual leader, authority figure that's coming in and assisting that 6th house transformation of health and routines. With Saturn and Neptune in your 8th house in sextile to Pluto as well, there's a lovely congruent energy between the routines that you're transforming, your health, your work, your daily activities being more efficient, more of a purpose because there's Aquarius there. So you could have more of a humanitarian purpose to your work. Saturn and Neptune in your eighth house, especially Saturn sextiling to Pluto, is giving you so much strength to create these transformations, to create change in your health, your routines, your work habits. It's that change in those work habits and health and routines that's also transforming your psychological connections to other people, intimate bonds, your own psychological health. A lot of Virgos out there could be in psychological type work, and there's a lot of focus here on that which is not usual in society. So the eighth house is Scorpio, which can be that taboo content, things that we don't always talk about in society, things that are like astrology has been in the eighth house, where it's something that is outcasted, though that is not the case these days. And Pluto is the classic ruler of the eighth house, being the ruler of Scorpio. So there's so much Aquarius, Scorpionic energy unfolding here for Virgos. That leaves for emotional transformation and upheaval and purging. But because we're talking about air and fire signs for these specific placements, there's going to be a quickness to it. There's going to be ideas that come through that fuel the fire of your eighth house. And you're going to feel this inspiration and motivation and drive to dive into deep things, to deepen and enrich your connections with other people. This is not energy of wanting to stay on the surface of communication. Uranus in Gemini is going to radically transform the typical Gemini energy, which can be more on the surface of ideas. But this is different in that it's designed to create something completely new. It's this specific activation of eighth house stuff for Virgos that's going to make it deep and purposeful, and an ability to completely have an upheaval and a phoenix rising from the ashes sort of energy with your deep bonds and who you are at a deep psychological level. I could see a lot of psychic energy coming in here too for Virgos, with even though these houses, the 6th and 10th, can be more practical. You have the Pluto in the 6th house, which is creating that element in Aquarius, and then the ruler of Aquarius being Uranus in the 10th. So you're adding that divine intelligence to a lot of routine things that you're doing. And it seems to be helping your psychological health and deepening and enriching that part of your life. I would love to hear from Virgos. Let me know how this is going in the comments below. If you would like to take advantage of my 100th YouTube video gift to you, check out my website link in the description below. You'll see an option there for 2025 yearly planners in the scroll down menu. Fill out the form, put in the notes, congrats on your 100th video, and let me know your sun, moon, and rising sign, or 3 signs that you would like to receive, and I will email those PDFs off to you. We still have a lot of the year to go and to plan and to take a look at what's in store. Excited to be there with you through the journey, and thank you for being here for this one. Have a wonderful Uranus and Gemini transit. I will see you next time. Hi, Libra. Uranus is in your 9th house for the next 8 years, minus a little backstep at the end of the year. But this is a really big transit for your beliefs, finding and seeking truth out in the world, being a teacher yourself, or finding teachers that have a lot of wisdom to share with you. More than just basic information, this is about the big picture. This can be a really long academic program. But more likely, there's going to be a Uranus flavor, which means that there's something unusual that's unfolding in the 9th house. Unusual travel. This is foreign places, foreign people, foreign experiences that help you broaden your perspective of the world. So you might be coming up with radical new ideas based on your experiences, based on the things that you throw yourself into, and just dive in for the sake of curiosity, with Gemini ruling this part of your chart. Teacher and student relationships are often very fluid in that the teacher can be the student and the student can be the teacher, and often they learn from each other. A lot of your interactions with other people are going to be about seeking the next step. You're not going to be interested in talking about the past. You're not going to be interested in talking about mundane things. With a transit like this, your mind is going to be constantly going and bringing regular mundane information into this place of curiosity and expansion into something new and new ways of viewing how things work. Very likely, this is going to come from partnerships. You now have Saturn and Neptune in your seventh house of partnership. So whether these are people who are already existing in your life or new long-term karmic or very important people in your life, this is a beautiful triangle of energy with Pluto in your fifth house, Saturn and Neptune in your seventh, and now Uranus in your ninth. So it's partnerships at the top of this triangle that are going to be deeply transforming your creative self-expression, children, your ability to feel aligned with who you truly are. At the same time as your perspectives, beliefs, and ways of viewing the world change. This is a wonderful part of your chart to have activated where knowledge is coming in and transforming your ability to feel more like you. You, more than other signs, are probably going to be stepping out of the ways that you were taught to do things, the ways that you were taught to see yourself and think about yourself and think about the world and think about partnerships. And by creating something brand new with these perceptions, your relationships have more long-lasting stability, more dreamlike creative qualities that are going to feed into your creative self-expression. You're changing with a partner, growing, evolving as you work on this relationship, whether it's work or business or marriage or romantic or long-term friends or just a karmic person that comes in and out. They're deeper than that. They're more meaningful than that on your journey of learning and evolving and growing into a person that is authentic and bright. And this is the Leo fifth house energy, which for you is Aquarius. So you will be building your feeling of being able to be this oddball in the group or come up with something that's never been done before and not worry about how other people can perceive it, accept it, any of those things that might have held you back in the past or made you feel more alone in your self-expression. You could have a partner that shows up that reminds you that there are other people out there like you. The isolation that you could feel with Aquarius running your fifth house, meaning that to be uniquely you, you need to be a bit separate, a bit further away and observing yourself and how you connect into the world. It looks like other people are showing up with this particular configuration, and you're going to be able to do that with other people and get that much further. Uranus in your ninth house could be an energy where you are coming up with brilliant ideas, intuitive downloads as you teach, perhaps. As you're a student and you're listening to a teacher, you're not only taking their information, but expanding it into something that's your own and that has even more meaning. This is a wonderful time to gather a lot of information. You're going to be feeling more curious. You could publish an article, a book, something you've been working on for a while, or during this 8-year transit, you could publish something very unique and information that is going to be helpful for other people's life perspectives, but that's also just going to have a lot of interesting material in it, a fascinating read. Saturn and Neptune in your seventh house could also add a flavor of restriction and work, that Saturn is this discipline energy that's coming from your partnership sector. So it's partnerships that are helping you feel disciplined in the work that you're doing and helping you bring your creative material into a disciplined physical form. But this could be an element of work. And at the same time, this is where the creativity is coming from. This is where rose-colored glasses are getting an adjustment. If you have been overly idealistic about what partnerships should look like, then this is a time where you're finding good balance of reality, creativity, inspiration. For Libras, I love this creative energy. This is really the energy that can get divine downloads and divine inspiration, messages that reach all people, that have an element of making sense and reaching the hearts of a lot of people. In this process, part of the triangle with Pluto and Aquarius in your fifth house is transforming how you have fun. So you might have more fun by exploring with a partner. You might have more fun in partnerships. You might be able to finally feel like yourself in partnerships. And you're going to have a partner, whether that's romantic or business, anywhere in life, and probably multiple partners that are going to feed your mind. You're going to really have fun expanding your mind and more fun in general with Pluto in the fifth house. Pluto in the fifth house can bring painful purges to what you previously found fun. A lot of releasing and letting go, but what you're bringing in, and with this lovely configuration with Uranus, that's going to help the Pluto transit. So whatever you've heard of Pluto in the past, this one is wildly different because Pluto is in Aquarius and the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, sending a trine, which is beautiful energy, to Pluto. So it's your mindset, it's the way that your mind is expanding and your experiences are expanding that is making this Pluto transit all that much more fun. Thank you so much for being here, Libra. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and chatting with me in the comments below. If you would like to take advantage of my 100th YouTube video gift to you, check out my website link in the description below. You'll see an option there for 2025 yearly planners in the scroll down menu. Fill out the form, put in the notes, congrats on your 100th video, and let me know your sun, moon, and rising sign, or 3 signs that you would like to receive, and I will email those PDFs off to you. We still have a lot of the year to go and to plan and to take a look at what's in store. Excited to be there with you through the journey, and thank you for being here for this one. So much fun to see you here, and have a wonderful Uranus and Gemini transit. I'll see you next time. Scorpio. You have Uranus in the 8th house, which is your house. The 8th house is traditionally ruled by Scorpio. It represents psychological transformation, the depths of the underworld. It is the cycles of birth and death and rebirth. It is going into the underworld to experience a sort of death in life when we change and transform, and then coming out like the phoenix rising from the ashes. This could be support from other people, financial support, deep intimacy. With Uranus in Gemini in this part of your life, this is about idea gathering and expanding upon those ideas that you get from other people. You're going to be creating a new framework for intimacy. You could have unexpected money come at you that completely transforms your home life because Pluto is in your 4th house. Saturn and Neptune at the top of this triangle in your 6th house are about your habits, your daily routines, your health, you're restructuring how you get things done. You're probably in a lot more creative flow in your work life and health life. This could be a time where health things that felt more intangible could start to be structured and crystallized and understood, and you're able to take action. This is a slower process with Saturn, so be patient with your routines and your health. This is going to be a 3-year transit with Saturn where you're going through these bigger transformations. But you're getting the help from Uranus in your 8th house. The help with Uranus in your 8th house is going to be about getting new ideas, from other people and support from other people that you didn't expect. That's going to help your healing. That's going to help your work output. And these transformations in the inner world and home with Pluto in your fourth. Uranus is the ruler of Pluto's transit through your fourth house because it's in Aquarius. So these inner world changes are happening from the eighth house, which means a wonderful time to get psychological transformational support. This is an excellent time to be more scorpionic than ever and do a deep dive into your personal underworld, where you came from, how you operate at a subconscious level, how your inner workings move through the world. And then you're going to have this restructuring happen with health routines work. Your family unit itself could go through deep transformation where you live, the family that you're creating in your world. And it's family that could influence the psychological transformation that Uranus is kicking off. This is an 8-year transit with Uranus in your 8th house. So you have a long time to experience the transformations, but sudden downloads of your subconscious and psyche could come to you that you didn't understand before or notice before. And you will likely have a better understanding overall of what your inner workings are all about. This is something that Scorpios already are strong in. So I'm really curious to see how this plays out for the Scorpios out there. Wonderful time to be a therapist yourself. Go through that training, write books on it, write and share your story with the world. And it's that diligent day-by-day process that you put into this work that is going to be more long-term and is going to radically change these areas of your life. So you have more intimacy to look forward to with Uranus in the 8th house. Intimacy is also going to involve a lot of communication. It's going to be sharing ideas and expanding on those ideas with another person potentially. You're going to understand things about your ways of bonding with people that you didn't see before. You could come up with new ways of deepening intimacy and creating intimacy in relationships. You're going to also feel with Pluto in your 4th house of Aquarius that you can be radically different at home, in your inner world. You can be part of a system and a family in that part of your life, but still feel like you get to do your own thing, or maybe have a family that is not the typical ways of doing things. Lots of ways that this could show up, Scorpio. We will talk about it all along the way, but this is a big internal process for you. Home life could certainly change. The ways that you are supported by others and your intimate bonds could change, and your work could change. These will all be areas of focus, and you're going to appreciate the radical transition, that things are not the way they used to be, and they're not the way other people do them. And that's going to be very welcomed by you. Let me know how this is going in the comments below. I would love to hear how you feel this is kicking off. And thank you so much for being here, watching this video. If you would like to take advantage of my 100th YouTube video gift to you, check out my website link in the description below. You'll see an option there for 2025 yearly planners in the scroll down menu. Fill out the form, put in the notes, congrats on your 100th video, and let me know your sun, moon, and rising sign, or 3 signs that you would like to receive, and I will email those PDFs off to you. We still have a lot of the year to go and to plan and to take a look at what's in store. Excited to be there with you through the journey, and thank you for being here for this one. Have a wonderful Uranus and Gemini transit, and I will see you next time. Hi, Sag. Uranus is traveling through your 7th house of partnerships. This is likely to bring a lot more curiosity, conversations that expand your mind. This is energy where you could be more chatty in your relationships. Already having Gemini as the ruler of your 7th house, you like intellectual connection. This is just going to take that to the next step, where now you get divine intellectual connection with another. Your partnerships are going to feel divinely inspired. You're going to get more psychic downloads from having conversations with important people in your life. These are people that are marriage partners, long-term committed partners, work partners, business partners. These are people that you have contracts and long-term commitments with. At the top of this triangle, you have Saturn and Neptune in your 5th house. This is bringing an element of restructuring fun, children, any rose-colored glasses you have had around having children or having fun. Saturn is here to bring a dose of reality, but in a good way. It means that whatever you're doing right now when it comes to 5th house topics like creative self-expression and the joy you put out in the world, the hobbies that you do, your children, your creative projects, there is long-lasting power here. There's stamina with Saturn. So Saturn and Neptune are going to take that rose-colored glasses part of Neptune, Neptune's ability to create an illusion and create beauty and dreaminess in the world, but bring it into grounded, long-lasting form. In Aries, this is about taking appropriate action. And that could be a process with children for some of you. Pluto's in your 3rd house in Aquarius, and the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus in your 7th. So this highlights communication again, because the 3rd house is the classic placement of Gemini, so there's a lot of overlap here too. Major communication transformation. And this has to do with your creative self-expression in children in the 5th house. This has to do with your partners. You're going to be radically changing your mindset, the way you use your words, the way that you get across to other people. This could be transportation and close relatives, cousins, like siblings, close family members, and short trips. But it really is about communication and your mindset. It is about pen to paper. So the 3rd house is where we put ideas into something, where you're spending time writing, sharing with other people. It could be that you are writing and communicating about relationships, and you have radical new approaches to how relationships can and should maybe be done, especially with an element of partnerships maintaining a sense of authenticity of each person involved. That's the connection to the 5th house. That creativity and being uniquely you is going to filter into partnerships and filter into your communication. In these parts of your life, you're going to be remodeling how things have been done in the past. You can use that as a platform to launch off of, but you're going to be creating something that has not been done before and that is not typical when it comes to relationships and communication. If you have children, then it could be children that are fueling this motivation and creativity, that you're wanting to redo and remodel how children are raised. But really, with the 5th house, there's always an essence of bringing it back to unique soul self-expression, that we are here to each individually be a unique expression. It's this gift of godlike essence and the in life form that Uranus can bring. It's not about being a robot through the world or mimicking your parents and how things have been done in the past. It's not about being under the control of other people and walking through the world with our heads down like a military process, just getting things done. We're meant to be here to have fun, even though it doesn't always show up that way, and it's not meant to every day, but the goal is to be a unique creative life expression. And that's the journey that Sagittarians are on. I think you're going to embrace it really well because Sag embodies this naturally. You like to seek new knowledge. You like to understand what's really true at the core of how the world works and how it's supposed to work. And that is going to filter into this transit that I'm talking about today and this magic triangle that's lighting up your 3rd house, your 5th house, and your 7th house of partnerships. 3rd house of communication, 5th house of creative self-expression, 7th house of partnerships. And how do those flow together in your life? How are you creating something that's meaningful to you, that is built on radical evolutionary knowledge that can move us forward in a new direction, not backwards? How can you take the foundation of who you were taught to be as a creative individual, who you were taught to be as a parent or as a child, and how can you expand on that now and make it something that fits you for this moment, for this 8-year era moving forward? Your relationships could have a lot of surprises, unexpected changes that constantly break down and rebuild over the next 8 years. But the process of that is so that we don't get stuck in something boring. Often what becomes boring and mundane in a relationship can be the very thing that kills it, or that makes people feel like they're in a cage of commitment that crushes freedom, that crushes unique individuality, and becomes this mission of work and coexisting but not living. So Sagittarius out there, you get to live this transit. You get to ride the waves of breaking down the old and bringing up something new, and you're going to be inspired by life, by the energy around you, by intuitive downloads. And you could have partners that are intuitive, you could have partners that are doing unusual things in the world, but this is all feeding back to you on the 7th and 1st house axis. Whoever we bring into the world becomes a reflection and a mirror for us, and a way to pick and choose who we want to be moving forward. A lot of Sagittarius out there are going to be feeling a lot more radical and a lot more willing to leap into experience and leap into the unknown. It's a fun transit for you, Sag, and you're a fun sign. So enjoy this 8 years. I'm going to talk about it all along the way. But thank you so much just for being here for this video and chatting with me in the comments, liking, subscribing, hitting the notification bell. It really does mean so much. So thank you. If you would like to take advantage of my 100th YouTube video gift to you, check out my website link in the description below. You'll see an option there for 2025 yearly planners in the scroll down menu. Fill out the form, put in the notes, congrats on your 100th video, and let me know your sun, moon, and rising sign, or 3 signs that you would like to receive, and I will email those PDFs off to you. We still have a lot of the year to go and to plan and to take a look at what's in store. Excited to be there with you through the journey, and thank you for being here for this one. Have a wonderful Uranus and Gemini transit, and I will see you next time.